Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It is June 8th, and we have Seeking Sustainability Live number 29 with Joanna. Thank you so much for joining us, Joanna.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me, Joy.
Do you want to briefly introduce yourself before we dive in?
Yes, of course. So my name is Joanna. I live in Tokyo, Japan, and have been here for almost 10 years. It's been quite an adventure. I'm a speaker, writer, and through my platform, My Planet, My Life, I try to live up to my mission in life, which is to love and respect the planet while inspiring others to do the same.
That's wonderful. So I think I described you as a sustainable living enthusiast.
Oh yeah,
Which I would describe myself too. You know, I mean, we're just trying to make better choices, and I love your Facebook page and your YouTube channel and everything because you're so positive and you're just trying to make better choices and live a more sustainable life. And I think that kind of information and personal insight really inspires other people. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
At the bottom of the page here, we can see your Facebook page, My Planet, My Life by Joanne, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
then your YouTube channel. Let me bring it up because it's difficult to read. Your YouTube channel name. Oh, I don't have it on the screen. How
yes,
would they?
Yeah, the same. My plan. If you just search My Planet, My Life, I haven't reached 100 subscribers yet, so I am not allowed to modify the name, so it actually shows in the address. So
okay.
Please subscribe.
And we will put links below so you can find it more easily. Your about page on your website is so nice. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you got started? What inspired you to start?
Yes. Very unexpectedly, it all started, like it usually happens for many of us. I was in university here in Japan, and I signed up for this class called Sustainable Society. I had no slightest idea what it's going to be about. I actually didn't even understand the word sustainable at a time. Even up in translating it, I'm originally from Poland, so it had this like old business focused meaning. I'm like, I have no idea what this means. So I just sat in this class, went there out of curiosity. And then right from the very, very first one, I was mind blown. So partly because of the almost tangible enthusiasm and passion of the professor, it was so clear that she breathes this topic. It's not just something she just merely teaches. And that and just the information, what I heard there, the climate change, the so many issues that we're facing in the world, and how our actions, right, have such an enormous impact on the natural world. So I ended up continuing with that class, and it was extremely transformative to the degree that it really shifted everything about my life, my way of thinking. It jump-started me on this journey. And yeah, I just felt I just cannot live as I was living anymore. Like, when you hear some things, we often hear the phrase that once you know it, you can unknow it. Mm-hmm. So that's what this class became to me, and I felt like nothing is the same anymore. And nothing will go back. My thinking, my way of living will not go back to what it was before I took that class. So, of course, it was, just one semester. So we didn't dive that deep, but I started showering my professor with thousands of emails. What about this? What about that? And what about this problem? And what can be done? And where I can get more information? So she is such an amazing person. A true educator, teacher, and now also a very dear friend.
And that was in Japan? What school were you at?
That was in Japan, Tokyo International University, which is located in Saitama.
Nice.
Not in Tokyo.
And what was the name of your teacher? We're going to give her credit.
Sumire Stanisławski.
One more time.
Yeah. Sumire Stanislavski.
Got it.
Yes. So yeah, she was a huge, huge, huge part, a huge influence and inspiration for me in the beginning of this journey, and she still is. And yeah, so after that class and also during, I just kept digging deeper, and I had this growing feeling that I just have to get myself involved in one way or the other. Like I have to do something. So of course I didn't know what, I didn't know how, because think about climate change. It's such an enormous and complex issue, and what could I possibly be able to do, right? So I was struggling a lot with thinking like that, with answering the question of how I can get myself involved. And then, yeah, as time passed by, I managed to put this mission of mine into words, and yeah, then I just continued developing that.
Nice. When did you start your website? You've got a few articles now.
Yes, website was launched last year, almost a year ago, actually. So for around a year, a little bit over a year, I really struggled with, yeah, so I have my mission, right? I have an idea, I want to do something, but I just didn't know what I could possibly do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still a student, right? I basically, my life is just going to classes, working, sleeping just tiny little bit, and then repeat every single day. I was actually had two jobs at the time. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of stuck in this perception, like, what could I possibly be able to do? Very disempowering. So I kind of locked myself in this kind of thinking and was very frustrated and angry at myself and the world, and like, why do we live this way? And yeah, there was like a lot of confusion, anger, frustration with how we live, with myself. So that lasted for a little bit over a year. Um, and yes, I also around the same time I got into personal development, so that helped a lot because I got a lot of information, inspiration, and in a way, a look into other people's lives, quote unquote, successful people in whatever it may be, however, people define that. Um, so I learned certain things that are crucial, right? If you really want to have an impact, if you really want to be great, do something great, right? So knowing your values, knowing what you stand for, what is the most important thing for you in your life, knowing your mission in life. That's where I started actually thinking about it and crafting it, right? What is your purpose? And now how do you want to go about it? All that really shifted my way of thinking and my mindset. So that also helped a lot in this journey of me figuring out how to involve myself in this, broadly speaking, like climate change or sustainability challenge. And as I was figuring things out, I was also going to events a lot here in Tokyo. And one of the organizations I came to know was Social Innovation Japan. And I know you had Robin right here as a guest. So Mariko, Robin, and Keiko, wonderful people. I love them so much. So I started going to their events, and then last year they came up with this completely new format, which was SDGs Pitch Night. Sustainable Development Goals. So they opened up the stage basically to community, to anyone who had something to communicate, who had an idea, who had a business or anything related, some kind of initiative related to the Sustainable Development Goals. And so I applied to be a speaker. I got chosen. Yes, thank you so much. Still grateful for that because it was really huge on my journey. And yeah, the event was the first time ever I spoke publicly about my vision, my mission, my struggles in regard also to that. And also that's around the time, kind of long way of answering your question, but that was the time when I also launched the website.
That's great. So I've got a lot of group events. I guess some of them would have been from Social Innovation Japan
Yes,
Night.
exactly this one, the one you have up
Oh,
on, the one
okay.
before. Yeah.
With all the people.
So this is another event I spoke at. That's Pink Cow Connections. This is Global Goals Jam. That was also another amazing experience. This one is from that very, very first event when I spoke, the Social Innovation Japan.
That's wonderful. And looks like a great group. There must have been a lot of great speeches as well as a lot of enthusiasm for your topic and your speech. And that is so important with sustainability because like you said, it's overwhelming. Like it's like what can I do? Like
Yes.
these issues are massive, right? So when you have groups like Social Innovation Japan and Tokyo to support people trying to make positive change, I know Katie O'Brien who does Eco, she was also connected to that group. You
Mm,
guys have such a great network there in Tokyo. And now that you have social distancing, I heard that he's doing more online. So
yeah.
hopefully it will expand the network outside, not just Tokyo, but anybody around Japan, around the world who's interested. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's dive into some examples of things that you've been really excited about recently. Before we start, you want to talk about your number one supporter?
Yes, yes. My number one supporter is my husband, Leo. So we met here in Tokyo, and um, the reason why I say he is my number one supporter is because even though he personally, when we met, he had no idea about climate change, all those issues, sustainability, pretty much clueless, right? So it's not like, I met someone who is as passionate about it as me. So it wasn't the case. But um, he is just such a wonderful person to support me in literally whatever I do. So it's been really tremendous help. And just knowing that there is someone who believes in you and supports you even just by being there, right? Without having to say things or, yeah, go, Joanna. Like, there's no need for that. So knowing that he's there and then whatever I endeavor to do, he is there, like, behind me, supporting me and cheering on me. It's been really, really wonderful. So, yeah, loads of gratitude to my Leo.
That's wonderful. And yeah, finding a partner who supports you through everything is amazing. Gonna make me
Yes.
tear up a little bit. No, no, it's true, right? Like when you're doing challenges and stuff. My husband's really supportive. Okay, let's move on. Wow, I was surprised. That got me. Let's go silly. I love your veg head poster. You often introduce your vegetable deliveries from Ome Farms. Should we talk
Yes.
a bit about Ome Farms? What a great company.
Yes. Yes. Um, so generally, I like exploring brands, businesses. Um, it's very, I think, interesting to see how people, even in business, which often is considered as against, right, like two polarized ideas or initiatives, right, the ecology, the conservation, the nature, and then business, right, we often consider it as more destructive, which maybe is not always necessarily true, right? So I really like being on the lookout for those more conscious businesses or people who try to solve certain issues that we have through business.
Definitely.
And so, yes,
I explain it as you have to try to balance people, planet, and profits, right? So when you
yes,
find a business that seems to be trying to find a balance to support local people, to support the environment, and have income.
Yes.
Those are amazing businesses to support. This is a beautiful picture from the Ome Farms website.
Yes.
All the parts of their farm. Have you ever visited? It's about an
Oh,
hour
yes.
from Tokyo. Oh, you did?
Oh, yes. Yes, 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 multiple times.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I actually don't remember how I found them. Someone somewhere wrote, I don't know, on some like random search scroll through Instagram. Yeah, and I found them on Facebook. I was really, really impressed by the photography. I am myself into photography,
Oh
so
yeah,
I
the
mean,
pictures are
where you take,
beautiful.
yes, right, and it could be just, a random carrot, but the way they present it is really beautiful. So I sent them a message on Facebook. I was very relieved to get an answer in English.
Yeah, they have some English on the website, and then of course
Yeah,
you can use Google Translate to
yes.
understand the rest.
Of course. So they are, again, this great group of people who do organic, 100% organic farming. This year, they also entirely removed plastic usage. There is a lot of plastic usage in Japanese way of farming. So they also got rid of that, including plastic packaging. We all know, most of us probably know, it's a huge, huge, huge challenge globally and also in Japan, especially with packaging,
So hard.
right? So yes, so I think it's very courageous of them, and also it sends a strong message that it's not just business, so we should wrap everything in plastic because consumers demand that.
Yeah.
So I was really, really excited about that. And just again, just wonderful people. I know them personally. I've been to the farm a couple of times, volunteering, helping. So it's been a great, great experience just
That's great.
connecting with them.
Uh,
Yeah. And
just
so,
researching their website a little bit, just to let people know who don't know Ome Farms. They deliver all over Japan, and if you join as a member, you can pay 40,000 a year and get deliveries every month. And if you do one-off deliveries, it looks like 4,000 yen for a box of vegetables. So if you do the year membership, it's actually better value because you're getting 12 deliveries for the price of 10. They also do honey. I was really excited about their honey farm. They sell raw honey and they keep a honey farm, so they're protecting the bees as well. They say the taste and the aroma changes by the season, which is something I learned when I visited the honey farm in Miyajima. And the honeys are pollinating all the mountain flowers and, of course, their organic vegetables. So honey farms and organic farms work so beautifully together. That's something I just love about the visit I did last year to Miyajima Island. There's an organic farm and a honey farm working right next to each other, and they're such great collaborators, right? And the organic farmers I visited on Miyajima were so cute, and they said, "Oh, look, the honeybee is here. Thank you, honeybee." Like their attitude to seeing the bees was so lovely. I love that because it helps their business a lot. And then he showed me some of the varieties of vegetables were actually changed because of the bees activity on the flowers of the vegetables. So they had like cross pollination. So I learned so much about bee activity and organic farming. It was great. Sorry, total
no, 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 no,
not about
no.
Ome Farms, but I imagine Ome Farms is very similar because they have this similar dynamic. So
Yeah, yeah.
let's talk about your unboxing video. I love
Mhm,
that.
mhm.
So in the video you're talking about, or you're showing how it arrived without any plastic packaging, which is lovely.
Yes, it's just I wanted to show and share that you can be actually excited about vegetables. Where I think mostly when think food, what do you think about? Yeah, okay, vegetables, maybe meat for some people, okay, shopping, groceries, cooking, right, dinner. That's what probably comes to mind, right? But there is, it's like a mini, a small miracle, right? Or magic, if you will, right? In your hand, that carrot, that leaf of kale, or whatever it is. And there's so much, energy and so many processes that were involved in that actually coming to life. And then, care of the people who actually grew those things. And then that arriving to your place. And I feel that being excited about and appreciating like every single piece of food that we have is just, it's not only just nice and very, like expanding and positive experience, but also makes you see things in completely different way, right? It's not just right, a carrot. There's so much more. There's so much more to that. So after getting into like organic food and actually tasting the food as it really tastes. Back in Poland, my grandparents used to have a humongous garden, something similar to like community gardens. So they would bring, like bags and bags of fresh produce. And when I was small, sadly, but yeah, being a kid, I didn't really appreciate that. Then, years went by, I moved to Japan, and yeah, you kind of get used to certain like tastes. And then, when I got my first organic produce, and tasting that again, right, is just an explosion of taste. Like, one of the most insane like differences in taste is between tomatoes. If you get
Yes.
a supermarket bought tomato and like real, right, no chemicals, pesticides used whatsoever tomato,
Yeah.
it's mind blowing,
And
right?
it's
So that's where,
so hard to get organic tomatoes. I find even from the organic farms, they often don't send tomatoes as part of the delivery. So it must be really quite challenging to grow without pesticides. I'm trying to grow my own tomatoes. That's one of my big targets this year. Oh no, Joanna, you've frozen. Oh dear. Okay, hopefully she's coming back. Joanna, come back. So we were talking about Ome Farms here. Joanna has dropped out for a second, her internet connection. So hopefully she's coming back soon. So Ome Farms, she said, is now delivering without plastic, which is a really big step forward. And they have the monthly membership, so you can pay for a year and get a discount. So here it is in Japanese, if anybody's interested. It's called CSA. It's the CSA member page. So it says a year is 40,000, which would make it cheaper for your monthly deliveries because you would get 12 deliveries for the price of 10. Anyway, they have a very good website, a little bit of English. If you're interested in Ome Farms, please check it out. Oh no, Joanna, where are you? Let me see if I can get her back. Next, Joanna's going to talk to us about grounding and her inspiration from watching the Earthing movie. So if you look up Earthing movie on YouTube, you can see the whole thing. Oh, Joanna, something happened with her internet. Okay, I will continue until she can come back in. So the idea behind the Earthing movie, which Joanna introduces on her YouTube channel. Oh, okay. Looks like she's coming back. Hold on. Technical difficulties. This might be the first time this has happened on the series. Joanna, are you there? I
can
can't.
you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
You said you just changed your
Okay.
internet. There she is. Yay!
Yes, I'm back.
Welcome back. I was just catching people up, summarizing the Ome Farms, and then introducing the Earthing movie a little bit. Do you want to
Mm.
introduce that for us?
Yes, okay. So, just around a week ago or so, I stumbled across this documentary about earthing or grounding. And I somewhat heard about it. I personally know a person who does barefoot walking, and but I never tried it myself. So I watched this documentary, and it was really fascinating to hear all about it and how it turns out because the Earth has an electrical charge, how it actually even has walking barefoot has a positive effects on your body, your health, and well-being. So just out of curiosity, I was feeling like physically really bad that day when I watched the film, and I was like, what the hell? I just went in front of my place and I just sat there, took off my sandals, put my feet on the ground, and I just sat there for 40 minutes or so, and my bad condition was gone. Now, whether that was a coincidence or not, I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me, but it was really interesting, and I've done it a couple of times from now, just consciously going out there to a park or a place where I can walk barefoot. And it's been a really interesting experience. Kind of brought me a little bit to childhood. I think most of us have an experience when we are small children walking barefoot, right? And then at some point we are told, right, and taught, just because this is how, right, the society is structured, that we are to put some kind of footwear on. Um, so
So
I'm really excited to
when you were
explore that
growing
part.
up, did you
Yeah.
wear shoes inside the house? Like, did you wear shoes most of your life growing up?
Um, So in Poland generally, so shoes, the ones you wear outdoors, we never wear indoors, but we are a huge slippers country. So we wear slippers in the house.
Which is
You can,
similar to Japanese, right? Because
yeah.
in Hawaii we are always barefoot or have
Mm,
slippers on, which is like very light sandals
yeah.
outside, and then inside we don't wear anything. We don't even have indoor slippers. That's the
Mm,
Hawaiian style. So I think I grew up barefoot, but I you're right. Living in other countries where they aren't barefoot all the time, and
yeah.
then getting separated from walking on the ground, on grass or on dirt, it's once you do it again, even on the beach, it's really a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful feeling. So
Yeah.
I love your video, just going to your nearby park on a kind of
Yes.
rainy day, getting
Yes.
your feet all muddy.
Yes. It was really fun. Like, even if, let's say, you don't believe, or the grounding thing doesn't even exist,
Yeah.
even it didn't exist, just the action itself, it felt so fun and playful. Like, there was this pinch, of freedom,
Yeah.
because you then, in that moment, I'm not constrained by anything. I'm just enjoying the mud. I'm just enjoying the soil or
Yeah.
whatever is going on without thinking, oh, what people might think, or, oh,
Yeah.
is anyone looking?
And
It was
you
not there.
mentioned something important as well. It's a playfulness
Yeah.
that we lose when we grow up. We stop being
Yes.
children, So whether it is, scientifically proven or not, I mean, they have some uh, data and
Yes.
scientific stuff on the website and web and channel. But even if it's not going to harm you, and it's definitely going to improve your mood, right? Like you said.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So I thought that was really fun. A nice thing I hadn't really heard of. My husband is a long distance runner. He does a lot of trail runs. So he for a while was really into shoes that make you feel like you're barefoot. The Vibro, is it? The barefoot
Mm-hmm.
running shoes. So I think the concept of being almost barefoot has been there for a while, and feeling the ground under your
Yes.
feet. But actually doing it without shoes is definitely a special feeling. I would recommend, maybe instead of your local park with no grass, maybe you go to Yoyogi Park or one of the big parks in Tokyo, and go on the grass. Have you done that?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I also recorded the whole experience, so a new video is coming, just waiting to be edited.
Okay,
Um,
wonderful.
yeah, really, really amazing. Kind of, many of us know the feeling of walking on the beach, right, on the sand, because usually that's what you do. However, in Japan, not necessarily, because if you go in summer, the sand is so incredibly hot that it's impossible to walk barefoot,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
I like
But I
going
mean,
to the beach not in the summer, like in other
yes,
seasons, and walking on the sand, because that's pretty much the
same.
only time you could do it, right? We had a
Yes.
comment from Facebook, Burn Phoenix. Thank you for joining. He says, when I was young, I walked barefoot a lot, or in
Mm,
thin deerskin moccasins. Yeah, I
mm,
think that is something, that people used to do a lot, and then it kind of went
yes.
out of fashion. And a lot of the sports shoes had like thick soles, right? Or shoes
Yeah.
had big soles, so you're even
Yeah.
further separated from the ground. So I
Yeah.
think then the Vibro barefoot shoe kind of boom came back, and then now actually going barefoot in nature. So it's nice. It's coming back. Thank you for your
Yes.
comment, Bernd. It's so true, isn't it? I mean, for a lot of sustainable solutions, we just need to look back. What did our parents do? It's
Yeah.
it's only like one or two generations behind us. What did our grandparents do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. For many countries, it's actually doesn't have to be as far in the past, right? When I was growing up, like I was born in 85. So in Poland at the time, so 80s, of course I don't remember much of 80s, but 90s, right? It was still the what you might call, the old world, right? There was no internet, there was no mobile phones, there was, the world looked completely different, right? There was no plastic everywhere. I remember very well buying, drinks in glass bottles, right? Milk in glass
Where
bottles,
where are
all
you
sorts.
from? Where are you from in Poland?
A very, very northern part, not a major city. It's called Koszalin. It's just the central part of the very north. So I was just maybe 20 minutes car drive from the seaside.
Oh, that
So I
sounds
also
nice.
love those like winter or fall,
Oh yeah.
non-summer beach walks.
Yeah. I love going out of season, because it's
Yeah.
so much cooler, and you
Mhm.
still can enjoy the beach and the ocean. In
Yeah.
fact, more than the hot summer days. Now is
Yes.
not too bad. Now is like bimyo, right? Half good, half too hot.
Yeah.
Neko Hakase has a comment. Have you ever found the environment streets to be cleaner and easier to go barefoot in some countries more than others? Where were your favorites? That's a good question, Neko Hakase. Thank you so much. How about you?
Um, I don't feel I can answer this question because I haven't done barefoot walking, for extended periods of time. Um, I just based on my impression, if and the only places I can compare are Poland and Japan. I would feel way, way, way safer and calmer to walk like in the city in Tokyo than in the cities in Poland,
Now,
right? But
in the cities, I would
yes,
say Japan is cleaner. But there
yes.
is not the culture of cleaning the beaches in Japan like there is in
Hmm.
Hawaii or Thailand or other places that I've been. So walking on the beaches, because we do a lot of beach cleanup, we
Hmm.
we do notice there's a lot of plastic problems. This is all over the
Yes.
world, but
Yes.
Hawaii and cultures which are dependent on tourism for the beaches, they are always cleaning the beaches. So I
Hmm.
would feel much more comfortable walking barefoot on beaches in Hawaii or somewhere where they're cleaning it, because quite often you can step on quite dangerous pollution
Yes.
that washes up on Japanese beaches. So it's not there yet for walking barefoot on beaches. Just be a little bit careful, because there is some nasty
Mm.
stuff floating in the ocean which washes on the beaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thailand is one of my favorite places to walk barefoot, because they have in Koh Phi Phi or Koh Lanta or some of the small islands, it depends which side of the island you're on, but some of the beaches are kind of sheltered so they don't get the pollution coming on the
Mm.
beach. And it's so pristine. It's more clean than I've seen Hawaiian beaches ever,
Mm.
and I grew up in Hawaii. So definitely there's amazing beaches all over the world. Miyakojima in Japan, beautiful beaches
Mm.
down in the south, but still, worldwide pollution. So some side of the island beaches have a lot more pollution. Some sides were cleaner. It depends on the currents. Thank you,
Yes.
Neko
Yes.
Hakase. Good question. Okay,
If I
let's,
can kind of
yeah.
follow on that a little bit, the fear we have, okay, if I walk barefoot, I will hurt my feet, I will step on something, right? I also feel that um, if we do that, if we walk barefoot, we will be just way more present with our surroundings, right? As opposed to when we just walk, wearing shoes, we don't look where we're going, right? We are not present with what's around us, what we're putting our feet on, right? So I think that that also can come into play. Of course, you got to be careful, right? But you will be definitely way more present with your body, with the environment, the surfaces you're walking on, and it's even also in terms of sensations you can get, ones that we do not get right in our everyday life. So it can be really, really cool experience or experiment if you're willing to try. I really encourage everyone to at least try.
Yeah. Find a clean grassy area, take
Yeah,
your shoes off and enjoy. Definitely.
yeah.
Let's talk about your plant experiments, your gardening on your terrace. So we talked in the past, Seeking Sustainability 1 actually was grow your own food, and John Walsh
Yes,
joined us, who I heard is your neighbor.
yes,
But his whole idea is to grow anywhere. So even
yeah.
if you're in an apartment, grow it on your terrace. And have you gotten some of your ideas from him or from YouTube? Where did you get your ideas?
um I have, so after moving to this apartment we live in, now I have grown almost since the start small things like herbs. Tried tomatoes once, kale. I love kale, so I had to have kale on my balcony. Yeah, so I never really thought, maybe because of the way I grew up and it was always in Poland, in gardens, because as I said, my city is not a major city, so it's not, like a capital city of any country, not that type of place, right? So I was very familiar with gardens, with, planters on by your windows in apartment and so on and so on. So it felt only natural for me once I had an apartment here with a proper balcony, because that can be a challenge in this country, right? um yeah, I was like, just get some planters and grow something. And
That's
recently
great. And you're
also, yes.
using worms. Can you tell us about your
Oh yes,
vermicomposting and vermiculture?
yes, yeah. um so the reason why I got way more into this balcony gardening thing was, again, because I feel that's strongly related to my mission, to the sustainability and connecting with nature and food and everything. And another part of that is waste that we create, right? So it's not just plastic, which often is the main thing that comes to mind when we mention waste, but there's also food waste. So food scraps, right? All sorts of peels and so on. So Of course, I knew about vermicomposting. My grandparents had a huge garden, so they were doing that. But then again, I was like, how can you do that? Can you even do that on a balcony, right? In an urban kind of setting when the only composting I knew was a huge pile, right, in a garden, and the worms do whatever they're supposed to do. Sometimes it smells because there's a lot of that waste. And yeah, again, going back to, meeting wonderful people and connecting, as with everything, there is really nothing in this world a person can do solely by themselves. So here again, I just met this wonderful lady, shout out to Takako, who's also very conscious about environment, sustainability, and she has been vermicomposting on her balcony. And we met, we talked, and she's like, do you want some of my worms? I'm like, yeah, of
Oh, that's
course.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So she just shared, part of her wormy family with me. And then yeah, I've set it up on my balcony, and it's been a really, really great adventure. And kind of like with food, with the organic produce, that it awakens this appreciation and love and curiosity. The same happened with what happens with food after, let's say, the leftovers, right? The scraps, the part of the food that we do not eat, right? So it's been like a huge investigation for me, and I enjoy it so much to observe. Oh, I put scraps in this corner, and now I dig it out, and oh my God, like nothing's left, right? They ate everything. Or there is this piece of skin. Oh my gosh, and I'm like looking at it. What is it? Maybe it's tomato. It's just incredible to have this look into the world of earthworms, which normally we cannot see, right? And they
Yeah.
are also a part of our world.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a crucial part without which really nothing can grow and exist in the soil, right?
Definitely.
So amazing, amazing adventure.
Yeah. And I was one of my targets during the coronavirus stay at home time is to try to grow more of my own food and become a better gardener. I think I have a small garden, and for years I've kind of dabbled, and I always compost. We've been composting all of our kitchen waste for many years. So I think I've developed quite a healthy soil. And I was listening to Ron Finley. If you search Ron Finley on YouTube, he is called the Gangster Gardener in LA.
Yes, yes.
And his thing is if you look at your soil and there's things moving in it and it looks rich, that is life. That's going to give you beautiful plants that you can eat and, enjoy. And then, so understanding how important dirt is
Yes.
and how complex dirt is and how plants communicate under the dirt to each other. And, so definitely it sways you about organic, right?
Yes.
It makes you realize, why would I poison the earth by putting any kind of chemical in? Because that just poisons me when I try to eat it. So the whole
Exactly.
idea of good dirt, rich dirt, organic dirt, becoming great vegetables, which then help you, and then
Yes.
even doing it on your balcony. That's awesome. Great job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you find that the worms can go through a lot of your kitchen waste quite quickly?
Yes. So what I read is that they are much more active in warm part of the year, so not as much in winter when it gets colder.
Mm-hmm.
So far it's yeah, they've been on it, really.
That's
So
great.
sometimes, yeah, when I get a little bit, I feel like too much because I just fed them. It really feels like having a pet,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I fed them, and then I have some more. Then what I just found to be working is I blend it. I make a earthworm smoothie. They like
Oh,
smoothies. Yeah, so I just blend it because then the scraps take less space, right? And I freeze them. So I have the smoothie for later then.
that makes sense. I was using an electric composter for a
Mm.
while. I visited the zero waste town of Kamikatsu a few times,
Mhm.
and that's something that the city office subsidizes for all the residents, so that
Wow.
they have to compost. Everybody has to compost, and that
Mm.
immediately reduced 30% of their waste for the whole area.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're using electric compost, which like dehydrates the
Ah,
composting,
yes.
so that it becomes like a potpourri. And then you just spread that dry compost really easily into your garden. Unfortunately, it broke.
Ah!
I bought like a secondhand version that had been fixed. So now I'm looking for someone who's going to fix it because I want to keep using it, you know. But then at the
Mm.
moment, I'm just putting it directly in the garden. And of course, it takes longer. So I like
Yeah.
your idea of making like a smoothie, and then it
Yeah.
can decompose a lot faster. So maybe
Yes.
maybe I
Yes.
don't have
Way
to buy
faster.
another machine. Good
Maybe.
idea, girl. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, try it, try it. And they seem to really love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
That's
they
great.
do. Yeah. And you mentioned a really good point there that about, why would you poison, right, the soil, putting all the pesticides and chemicals, and then that's in our food, and thus we poison ourselves. I think that applies to almost every issue that we have now, right? And I feel that usually there is this separation. There is the nature, there is the natural world, and there is the human world, right? We need to protect the often used phrase, right? Something we hear all the time, protect the environment, protect the nature, right? It's not just that, really. Whatever you do that you think is for the nature is actually also for you, for yourself, right? There is no
Absolutely.
separation,
Yeah.
right? We are one. We depend, right, on every element of this world,
Yeah.
literally for life, right?
Yeah.
So,
My
um,
daughter in her junior high school, she had a project where they were researching Native Americans, the
mm,
Aboriginal people of America, and they were so smart, right? They never harvested too much of something. They never killed too many animals beyond what could recover, or they were living in balance with nature and with their community. And nothing was perfect, you know, and it's the
mm,
same in Australia, Aboriginal people. It's the same in Hokkaido, the Ainu people. It
yeah,
it's living those people who understood how to live in balance with nature. And then the Western, the modern, the better man-made ideas come in and say, no, no, we can do better than nature and try to change it and improve it. And now
mm,
we're realizing, it's not better. We need to go back. We need to go
yeah,
back to the original people's knowledge. They knew. Why didn't we listen to them, you know?
yeah,
But I think
yeah, and
it's the human condition, right? The thinking I can always make something better because I'm smart. You know, I'm a human. I'm obviously smarter than nature, which is crazy, right? We can't control
yeah,
nature. Have you
yeah,
ever heard
yeah.
of the farmer? Well, he became an activist, Fukuoka Sensei. Did you ever read any of his stuff? He was working for a Japanese company. He was a biologist, and then he really became disillusioned with modern man-made solutions to farming. And then
Mm,
he started a revolution. In fact, his book is called One Straw Revolution, and his whole idea was you have to trust nature. Nature is smart. Nature knows, right? So he had some ideas like you take seeds, all variety of seeds, and you have a ball of clay and you just throw it everywhere. And then you see what nature wants to grow. So it's kind of a radical idea, but he was such an interesting guy and so revolutionary in his thinking. He traveled to the Sahara Desert and he had kids in Japan saving seeds from their food, and he was collecting it from all around Japan and then taking it to the desert and planting seeds all around the world. You know, what an amazing person. I'd love to visit his farm someday because his descendants are now running it, and they're practicing his ways. What an interesting,
Yeah,
inspiring guy.
yeah, yeah.
Prasanna has commented. He said, "Always an inspiration listening to you, Joanna." Thank you,
Thank you.
Prasanna. And Bernd has commented again, worldwide natives, one of my favorite subjects. Yes, me too, Bernd. Such an important topic. We were talking about looking back at previous generations. We need to look back at the native peoples and what they did as well, definitely. We have a few more minutes. Do you want to talk about Wee Morty you mentioned?
Yes, yes. Um, so I recently joined a team of a project called Ome Farms, which is focusing on conservation and restoration of forests. So yet again, there is this amazing, passionate human being who doesn't just sit back and wait for someone else to save the world, right? But went out there and did take some action. So that's Ian, the founder of Wimori. And yeah, after hearing from him about his passions, his vision, I felt very, very much connected uh, to his perspective, which I felt that we really share, as well as the love for the natural world, and deep need, not even want, but a need to go out there and just do something, right? So after connecting with him, I decided to join the team. And what I'm doing there is writing content. So I think the first articles will be released later this month. And yeah, Wimori is in the form of an app that's supposed to bring people right closer to forest restoration and conservation, connecting people, right, average people, right, who want to get involved. So that can be, for example, through financial support, right, with high impact projects that are centered around forests all over the world.
I think when I looked at the website a little bit, I mean, we'll try to reach out to Wee Morty and get someone from Wee Morty to join this
Yeah.
series. That would be great. But just to introduce it a little bit, it looks like it's an app which offers transparency. And transparency is so important for charities, for sustainable projects,
Yes.
right? Because we have to be skeptical. We have to kind of ask, is that really true what they said? Because some big companies are making claims which aren't actually true, or
True.
making green packaging and they're not
Yes.
actually doing anything. They're just changing the color. So
Yes. Yes.
in sustainability, it's so important that we are skeptical. And I hate to say that, but some people will kind of say that they're doing something to get a better brand, but we have to check, right? So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what it looks like they're doing is trying to offer more transparency for the donor, for the supporter of planting trees, to see how that money is used, right? Very
Yes.
clearly.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think it's fantastic, so
Yes.
necessary.
Yes, exactly. So one important point is that Wimori is not about planting trees, right? So that's another kind of like recent hype, which sadly many of those projects, the tree planting projects, are just monoculture that don't really bring any environmental, any biodiversity. There is really very little value in that. So the key thing is that this is focusing on forests, right? On existing standing forests that we have to, keep as they are, right? So conserving them. Um, and then restoring, right, the forests that have been damaged, right? And as you say, the transparency point is crucial, because even, let's say, if we take out of the picture the organizations that aren't very genuine, right, in their activities, if they are, very often, right, when we donate money, it's like that's the last basically contact we had with the organization. We rarely know how the money was used, where it went, and so on and so on. So there are some organizations such as Charity Water is one of my favorite ever non-profit organizations. Is based in the States. And they, I feel, were the pioneers of full transparency. It's a really incredible organization. So if anyone's interested, please look them up.
And in Hawaii too, there's a great organization called Hawaii Heritage Legacy Trees, and they will give you a GPS when you support, and they're using native species of trees.
Yes.
And there's so much accountability and transparency, and we need that. We need that more because people know we need more trees. But if you, like you said, you just donate to different places, it might not be somewhere that's doing it in the right way, because forests are, they need people who understand the native forest and what trees are best and everything. So this app just connects you to forest organizations and gives you more information and transparency, I believe. So it sounds like a great innovation, great way forward. And they are on Facebook. You can find them on We Mori if you search. Let me see.
Yes. And more on, it's there, the page is there, but they're more active on Instagram now.
Okay.
So it's still under development, right? So the best thing you can do if you want to hear more is to subscribe to the newsletter, and there will be things happening publicly, big things announced definitely this month. So please be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, it looks like they have a lot of big collaborations. Yes. So they have the backing of activist environmental TV show host David Attenborough. They have some big companies supporting. So yeah, you can find a lot of information, find them on Instagram, find their website by searching Google for We Mori. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great. Well, we have just a few more minutes. Anything else you're trying to challenge, or anything upcoming on your website you want to mention? You said you wrote something more scientific. You want to talk about that?
Yes. So let me just get it, straight. I am no scientist, right? Everything I know about climate change, sustainability, environmental issues is self-taught, with the exception that class I took in university. But I feel that not being something, right, shouldn't stop us, and can't really stop us from educating ourselves, from learning, from being curious, especially now that we have this incredible invention of internet, right? When I go back to my teenage years, it didn't exist. There was no way of knowing things outside the, TV or radio you had in your house, right? So this is, for, I feel, many, people, it might be something that we take for granted, because for many of us, it's just been there always, right? But it's such an amazing tool, empowering one. Can be disempowering, right? But if we use it in the right way, we can do this interview thanks to that, even though we never met, right, in person, right? We can learn, we can see places. So I've been using that to not only educate myself and inspire myself, but also I want to, in a way, be a channel also to create this kind of environment for others through this platform of mine, My Planet, My Life. So what I focus on, right, is curiosity, appreciation, truly seeing the world around us Because I feel, and I have lived like that for many, many years also. I didn't really see or experience the world, even with just my small environment, right? House to work, even environment, right? We are so, I feel disconnected, always somewhere, always stressed about something. And of course, it's just the system that was created, the system that we live in. But we can bring in some more, fresh air, if you may, more light, more inspiration, if we can open ourselves more to the beauty of this world, to the complexity, and so many things that aren't created by us, the things that have been here even way before humans came into existence. So I strive to show that to whoever comes across my platform through, either writing or public speaking, which I also do, to plant, the seed of curiosity and inspiration, and just, putting those glasses to be able to see the beauty around us. So there's that, and also there is a lot of things we can learn, and we can cultivate curiosity for how things are, why they are this way, and that's where the science part comes, right? I was never really interested in science. I didn't like biology class I didn't really enjoy geography class in school and so on. But now in my adult life, where I have a little bit more awareness even of myself, right? When I read all this information, and I mean something like as I don't know, a weather, right? I don't know, like, why is it windy today? And I never thought about that. Why is it windy? Where even wind comes from? That's the curiosity I feel that we need to awaken in ourselves. So
And
that's what I also
I
want to
I
say.
love that about your platform. You're very curious, and you're sharing your curiosity and enthusiasm and passion and positivity. I think it's so easy. These topics are big and difficult. So it's easy to be negative and cynical, and we can't change anything. And your platform doesn't do that. So I want to thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And
Thank
please
you.
keep up the good work.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for joining today and sharing your passion with us and your
Thank you so
ideas.
much.
Yeah. And thank you, everybody, for joining today. Tomorrow we have another talk at 9 and a talk at 5. At 9 o'clock, we have Divya Marie Kato. She's an artist who does art seminars and focused on trees and nature. And then we have 5 p.m. we'll talk about the Hiroshima Green Legacy, which is planting trees around the world using the seeds from survivor trees that have survived the atomic blast. So please join us tomorrow, and thank you so much. Bernd, last comment, wonderful talk. I'm glad I stumbled on it. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
And Neko Hakase, thanks for sharing. Thank you so much, you guys. Appreciate your comments and your questions during our talk. So please join us again.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much. Everybody take care and have a good day. Go connect to nature.
Yes.